goal to be successful on YouTube? That's the question that we dive into today for the interview with Angie from Hot and Flashy, a 57-year-old beauty, skincare, and lifestyle YouTube creator. Welcome. My name is Erika Vieira, and I'm the host of the YouTube Power Hour podcast. And on this channel, we pull back the curtain to reveal what it really takes to be a successful YouTube creator. Make sure that you subscribe because I have a ton more interviews like this coming your way. And comment below. I want to know, do you have a YouTube channel? What's your channel about? When did you start it? And enjoy the interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Angie. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Erica. So nice to meet you, and thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on. And why don't we first get started with sharing what inspired you to get onto YouTube? You got onto YouTube back in 2012, and Yep. You're not somebody who's, in your 20s or a teenager. How old were you when you started your channel?
I had just turned 50 in August, and I started in October.
So I think that's incredible, and I think that gives a lot of inspiration for women out there of all ages to show that you don't have to be in your 20s to have a YouTube channel. So why don't you share, what inspired you when you just turned 50 to get onto YouTube back in 2012?
Sure. Well, when you turn 50, you're not there yet, but your skin is very different, and all of a sudden it's not what it used to be, and you start looking for, a skincare routine or procedures that you want to have done. And, my friends around here just didn't talk about that stuff. It was kind of still a taboo subject around people my age. So I turned to the internet and started doing a Google search, and YouTube videos came up of skincare routines and laser treatments and IPL treatments, things that I was interested in having done. But the problem was that the people that were making the videos were all in their early 20s. And so they were doing 20-step skincare routine, but had beautiful, perfect 20-year-old skin. I was like, this just does not apply to me. And then I was looking for an IPL treatment, and there was a guy who had really deep acne scarring who was in his 20s. That was all that was out there. And I thought, I can't tell what this does for wrinkles, and I can't tell what this does for sun damage. So at the same time, my daughter was watching a little YouTube, and she showed me someone else's channel and said, Mom, this girl is like you 30 years ago, and you could do this. And that kind of is what put the idea in my head to do it. And I thought, well, why don't I just have the treatment done that I want to have done and make a video about it, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if anyone watches, because there's got to be other 50-year-olds or older people out there who are looking for the same information that I am. So I decided to get an IPL treatment done. I recorded myself that day going before I went for the before video. And then 2 weeks later, I did an after video, and that kind of started my channel.
And so when you first started your channel, did you see anybody out there when you were that was in their 50s? Was there anybody that maybe inspired you, or did you really not find anybody at the time?
Well, there were a couple people who were out there before me, and they were doing more makeup videos and more straight beauty videos like hair and makeup. And where I live in New England, people just don't wear makeup here. So I had never worn makeup. I had never done skincare. I barely washed my face. I just wasn't into the whole thing, and I had a ton of sun damage. So I was kind of coming at it from the standpoint of someone who knows nothing. And so I did watch a couple of those videos, and it was nice to see that there were women who were my age or older who were actually having a following on YouTube, because I wasn't sure there was really an audience for older people on YouTube, because it was skewed so young.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, what I've heard, because I run a boot camp for women, and I get women, of all ages coming into my program, or they're asking questions about it. They're like, I'm in my 50s or 60s, or I'm in my mid to late 40s, and I don't feel like the audience is there. There's not people there, not as many people my age who are interested in content as there are that are younger. Did you ever find that to be the case for you?
No, I think that's absolutely 100% true. I don't think there is as big of an audience for people, but there is an audience. And so as long as the size of it is okay, I think that's fine. And I also think it's growing. So as those younger people, when I started 7 years ago, those people who were in their 20s or in their 30s are now approaching their 30s or 40s. And so the age of the audience is aging along with those original YouTubers. And, my audience is aging too. So, but I feel like there's more people who are in their late 40s, early 50s, into their 60s who are now more comfortable with social media than they were 7 to 10 years ago. It just, people in my age group, social media, you just weren't comfortable with it because you had kids in middle school and everything you were told was that social media was dangerous and they were predators and it's all porn and, stupid cats, and we weren't really interested in it. But I think that so much more content for everyone, really. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are or how old you are or, anything, there's content for you. So now it's become so much more inclusive of everyone, including more mature people.
Yeah. And I read a stat that the fastest growing segment of the population that's, increasing in regards to viewership of YouTube is the over 50 crowd, something like that. It's like significantly higher. There's way more people that are that age that are now starting to come onto YouTube and actually see it as a viable platform to research information on or watch or see as entertainment. So
yeah, that's really interesting. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like it's relevant. What I always tell my students that are, in your age bracket or in their 40s or whatever, I say, but the thing is though, there might not be like as many people that are watching it, but there's still a lot. But there's not nearly as many creators in that age either. Like the number of creators that are on YouTube that are in their teens or 20s is significantly higher than creators that are in their 40s or 50s.
Right, exactly. So you have less competition, and it's also for audience, but there's still significantly fewer people in our age group making videos.
Yeah, and so for you though, being somebody like you said, a lot of people my age just aren't into being onto to social media and all that. So for you, did you have any experience whatsoever being in front of a camera, working with cameras, technology, anything like that?
Yeah, I didn't have experience being in front of a camera, but I had experience with technology. I had been a graphic designer in my previous career. And when I had kids, I decided to not retire completely, but freelance and stay home with them. And so the freelance jobs were kind of few and far between, but I had the technological background where I knew how to do Photoshop. I knew how to do video edit. I knew how to do, I always kept my computer skills up. So that wasn't a problem. It was more that I was afraid of social media and really timid in front of the camera that my first video are just so, so awkward. While I was over the 15 years that I was kind of a stay-at-home mom / part-time freelancer, I had decided that maybe my going forward business would be that I would edit family videos because I was starting to amass a collection of, videos of the kids. And I wanted to start putting them together in watchable segments. And so that's when I learned to do video editing. And so then when this YouTube thing kind of happened, I already knew how to edit video. And I already knew how to use Photoshop. And I already knew how to use all the technology, was really computer savvy. So that wasn't a steep learning curve. What was a steep learning curve was getting the right equipment, good camera, good lighting. And, but like most people, I think the advice is, if you want to start a channel, just start it. And I 100% agree with that. You don't need great lighting. You don't need even to be comfortable in front of the camera. As long as you have a message that's resonating with people, it doesn't really matter what your, lighting and camera setup is. It's nice to improve it as the years go on, which I've done so that my content can improve. But you just start with nothing. But yeah, that's how I started, is because I already had some technical skills.
What was did you have a message? Did you know what that was when you first started, or did that develop for you over time?
It's been pretty consistent. I mean, my message, right? Did you say message or method? Message. I mean, it was really, I wanted it to be all about anti-aging, specifically for people who were older. Like you can take a 20-year-old and say anti-aging for a 20-year-old is wear sunscreen, and that's pretty much it. Like stay out of the sun. There's nothing more that you can really do. But once you're 50, and back when I was that age, sunscreen wasn't a thing. You had an SPF 4, that was it. So there was no anti-aging. So we all had sun damage. We all had wrinkles. We all had age spots. We all had things that we didn't like. And so anti-aging was really my main message, but that it's so much more than skincare. You can look so much younger with makeup, with how you wear your hair, with how you wear your clothes. So I wanted it to be, and with lifestyle. So I did some exercise videos. I did, what I eat in a day videos. So I cover everything that I think is about anti-aging. And sometimes I think that that's been good for my channel, and sometimes I think it's been not great, because I know there's people who are there just for skincare. And I know that there are people there just for fashion. And so I know that there's some people that are there just for makeup. And I know that sometimes the makeup people are like, it's Friday, you're supposed to be doing a Foundation Friday video today. What's this fashion video doing here? So, they want to see makeup every video, or they want to see skincare every video. But I don't know, for me, it's more fun for me to keep it diversified and tackle everything in like anti-aging and beauty and fashion. But, on the other hand, I think it could be, I maybe could have grown faster if I had concentrated just on one and done just that. But I think I would have a hard time making all videos about skincare 24/7.
Which segment do you think is the most popular with your viewers? Is it skincare?
No, I actually think that it is makeup.
Makeup, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Like if I do an eyeshadow tutorial, they get the least views, like 23,000 views I'll get for an eye tutorial. People love it. But if I do something like how to stop under eye concealer from creasing, that will become like a runaway popular video. So there's very specific things that people are looking for in this age group, like how to get your makeup to not sit in your wrinkles and, what works best. And as I've looked at my more successful videos over time, skincare they're really the ones that people come and watch a lot, but they're not the ones that I have like over 1 million views on. Like my most popular videos, I don't think any of them are skincare. Maybe the first one. No, I guess a couple of them are, but not serious skincare. Like my serious skincare videos where I do my skincare routine, or I have the skincare ingredients series where I go in depth into the ingredients and what works, what actually works, instead of just trying to sell a bunch of like, oh, I use this and I like how it feels. No, what actually works to reduce your wrinkles. Those get a lot of views at first, but they're not the ones that get like,
they don't take off.
They don't take off and do over 1 million views. But I feel like my most popular videos are all about the eye area. Like people are really concerned with the eye area, whether it's makeup or skincare. It's like I could probably do my whole channel just on eye videos.
Yeah.
And that would be all the popular videos. But, so it's kind of a combination of two. But so it's been interesting because I feel like it's really all over the map. What is most, like my fashion videos, when I do my lookbooks, I do like one a season, and those take off and they get, around 200,000 views a piece, but I only do one a quarter. So those are very popular. And then I do skincare routine maybe twice a year. Those are also very popular. But like the bread and butter is makeup, reviewing makeup, and those don't get as many views per video, but I feel like it's what a lot of people come back for.
Yeah, and so when you're thinking of video topics and choosing which video topics, what's that process for you, and how do you decide it? Is it really just based upon what you feel like doing, or do you have a strategy? Are you trying to get the most views, or is it just like, okay, well, I feel like doing this, I want to do that?
I feel like when I first started my channel, I was looking for that one viral video that would take off and like make my channel. And I have one of those for probably the first 3 or 4 years. So that amount of time, I kind of finally gave up on that. Like I kept being like, oh, I'll do this and it will be the one. And, then it wasn't. And I was like, oh, then what are they looking for? So I just kind of do more. I try to rotate around between the subjects that I cover. So I try to do, say, in a month, always at least one fashion video, probably 4 makeup videos, 2 skincare videos, and then a couple of other things that are just kind of random. Like there's always the empties, there's always the faves and fails, there's Foundation Fridays. I could do 2 of those a month. So I just kind of keep it moving so that I'm not always, doing too much makeup in a row or too much skincare, because then the other part of my audience gets bored with that and they go away and don't necessarily come back. But yeah, I used to look for that big hit popular video. Now I just kind of do a lot more topical things, a lot of viewer requests. So for Foundation Fridays, there's always a new foundation coming out, but I base what I'm going to actually review on how many requests I get for a certain foundation. So, if there's 5 new releases and I get 100 requests for one, then that's the one I'm going to do, because I don't do them, every video. So I do fewer of them a year than probably people who concentrate just on foundation, their whole channel. But I like to pick them based on what my audience is going to be interested in. So, I'm always in touch on the comments and on Instagram, or I'll put up a picture of 5 or 6 foundations and be like, which one are you guys most interested in? So I like to ping my viewers and see what they're interested in. It's a lot of topical stuff. A lot of stuff is just the chatter that you hear, or new products that are released. If another YouTuber releases something, then you want to jump on that because everyone's going to be asking about it. So a lot of it is just, it kind of comes along, I try to schedule a month of videos so that I know what I'm going to do that month. But a lot of times, a new topic will come up that people just suddenly start asking about. And a lot based on other YouTubers' videos, like they'll watch somebody else and they'll be all over a product, and then they'll come and be like, but I'm not buying it until I get the Angie take on it. So could you try this product and let us know if it's legal? So then all of a sudden get that product and start testing it, and then do a video on it for the people who want to know. Because I feel like they trust my opinion and my judgment on things. So I'm not going to yes them or sell them. So when they see something that seems too good to be true, they're always like, could you test this for us?
Yeah.
I'm like, sure.
And I think that's great because you're really catering to your audience, the people that love you, trust you, and what they want from you. Have you ever done a video that, because it sounds like, for a while you were hoping for that viral hit. It didn't come right away. Were there any videos that you did that you're just surprised that they took off, that you're like, oh, that was just going to be a regular video. I can't believe that became one of my viral videos.
Yeah. The one that's in my top 5 and has been for years is this egg white, like testing out egg white for your hooded eyes video. And it was, something that a lot of people, same thing, had come to my channel and left me a comment. Hey, can you try out egg white? Someone else is saying that you put this on your eyelids and it works. So I sat down with a raw egg and painted egg whites onto my eyelids to show lift your hoods, and shocker, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But consistently that is like my second most viewed video ever. And I kind of made it as a joke because I'm a real skeptic. And so when people started asking about it, I was sure it wasn't going to work. And sure enough, it didn't. But that it's still so popular is weird to me, that people are still looking for, like, does this egg white thing work?
Yeah.
Such a popular video.
And you got the idea from your subscribers. That wasn't something you're like searching for or researching.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Most of the time it's things that they'll ask me about, and I'll be like, oh, that can make an interesting video, or something that will happen to me. And I feel like, oh, I solved this problem and maybe it could help other people, and so things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. It sounds like your audience is definitely steering you in the right direction. And like, even though you're not specific in the niche in regards to like, okay, I'm only going to do makeup or hair care or whatever, I would say that you have more of a demographic niche, which is, women over, whatever age. I don't know, it's 40, 50, whatever it is. Then that's very specific. And I think, what you said earlier in regards to not just doing, an eyeshadow tutorial, but how to have your eyeshadows not crease, or, very specific to that demographic. So when you're coming up with these video topics, is that how you are now positioning them? Like, are you no longer doing like full face tutorial? Do you do mainly ones that focus on women that are over 50?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't, it's interesting, like when you're coming up with the title for the video, I always feel like that helps so much to sell it. And so for a while there, I would do, for hooded eyes or for women over 50. And then I kind of felt like, you get a lot of pushback from the audience. The audience, 99% of them are wonderful and very complimentary and lovely. But, you do get the pushback. And so then some people would be like, your title shouldn't say for hooded eyes because your eyes aren't hooded anymore. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, then maybe I shouldn't say that anymore, because I feel like that's a real, like, not a clickbait thing, but a specific what people are looking for, especially in this age group, is, hooded eyes are beautiful on younger people, and I've had them all my life. But when I turned, the hood started sagging, and they were like laying on my eyelashes.
Yeah.
And I started doing all this skincare and all this other things, and now my eyes really don't look hooded anymore when I have on the makeup done a certain way and my camera at an angle. But really, my eyelids are still hooded. They're just not as bad as they used to be. They've improved a lot. And that's another one of my most popular videos. That's the top one, is how I fixed my hooded eyes. And so I on that and just showing all the different things that it took 4 or 5 years of using, this cream and sleeping on my back and, this and that and the other thing. So sometimes I feel like, you put in something like that, the hooded eye thing, and you get the niche with the hooded eye people, but at the same time, you're working to improve yours, and then they improve to a certain degree, and then the people are like, well, you can't talk about this anymore. You don't have it anymore. So then I just kind of started doing a regular eyeshadow tutorial, not putting in for mature, for hooded, or for anything, but I always give my more mature tips and tricks.
Yeah.
If your eyelids aren't perfect and your skin is crepey, then here's what you can do to get your eyeshadow on smoother. So they always include the niche advice for older people, so, and I think, but I do have, I have, my main audience is more mature people, but I do have a lot of younger people who come for the skincare, for the makeup stuff. And they're like, you're just kind of a breath of fresh air in that you're me what I'm going to need to know in the future.
In the future,
so
yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, I like watching women like you, women that are older than me, because I feel like they really know their stuff, it's okay, what do I need to be now so I can look like that in the future, I can maintain in the future. So I would imagine you have younger people as well. And even like you said, with the hooded eyes and how you've done so many things to fix it, I imagine though that those videos like you said, that was your number one video, or one that gets millions of views, is how I transform it. That probably brought a ton of views and subscribers to your channel. So even though you fixed it, it's still a huge draw because people want to know how you did it. So
right.
Yeah. So how did you keep going? So it sounded like, you've been on YouTube since 2012, and, you filled out your little form for me. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting was the fact that, according to you, your channel, you didn't believe that your channel really started taking off until a couple years ago. So how did you keep going all those years when your channel maybe wasn't taking off? That's a long time. Did you maintain your consistency? Did you ever take any breaks, any doubts? How did you keep going?
Yeah, I guess I liked it enough. I just thought it was, it's a fun thing to do as far as a job. Because I had always considered it what am I going to do when my kids go to college? Suddenly I'm going to be an empty nester, and I'm going to have all this time on my hands. And I wanted something that I could do, but that I didn't have to punch somebody else's time clock or be dependent on them. So, it really worked for my life, because I could just come downstairs in the morning, decide what I was going to film that day, or, test a makeup that day. And it really filled my life with things when, my kids left and it was sad and everything. So that kind of got me through that. But I think it was really that I just love the rapport with the audience. I just, I don't have anybody to talk about this stuff with. And when I started my channel, I really didn't have any expertise. I wasn't a makeup artist. I wasn't a, chemist or a dermatologist or a skincare guru of any kind. I wasn't a beautician or what's the one that, the med spas that you go to.
Yeah, an esthetician or a nurse that does all the fillers and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. I really had no specific knowledge in any of these things. So it was a huge learning curve for me. And I just love the learning for myself, that I just love doing the research. And so I would research what could work with skincare and the different things. And I just love learning it for myself and then passing it on to others. And I love the feedback that I was getting, even though it wasn't my channel was taking off. If I gained 30,000 or 40,000 subscribers in a year, it seemed like it was plenty. I mean, enough money to live off of for probably the first 3 years. It was definitely a sideline hobby kind of thing as far as finances go. But I just really, really liked it. And I really, really liked what I was learning. And I liked sharing the knowledge. And I liked interacting with other people who were my age who really felt like there was nothing out there for them. Because I get so many great comments like, oh, I'm so happy I found you. And, you know, you've really saved me a ton of money with the skincare routine. And I love what you do. And, you know, so just getting the encouragement from the viewers, I think, is really what kept me going most. And plus that it worked in my lifestyle. And I thought, well, you know, I never really thought about hanging it up. I really, once I finished my first year, like if I was going to not continue, it was going to be in the first year. If it didn't resonate with nobody watched. But by the end of the first year, I feel like I had maybe, you know, 10 or 12,000 subscribers and recognized their little pictures or their names when they would leave a comment. We would start chatting back. And yeah, it was just really nice. And after that, I was like, yeah, this is enough to keep going, you know, and then it finally took off at some point. And there were opportunities coming along and there was fun things to do. And yeah, I mean, it's a great, you know, really fun thing to do for someone who has, like, where else could you get a job like this where you can do it all the time? And after the first few years, start, you know, making enough money that you can justify it with no experience in it.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is pretty low for YouTube. So it's
you just put yourself there, and if people respond to you, then bam, you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I know, which is really incredible. That's what makes YouTube so amazing, is that truly anybody can do it. But I think, you know, you touched on a really important point, was that you really have to love it. Like, you have to pick a topic that you're passionate about, that you love, because there is a good possibility that you're going to be doing it for years without making an income, truly for the joy of it. And it's kind of this like catch-22, because everyone's like, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to make this my job. And yes, that comes with eventually sponsorships and things like that. But ultimately, the most important component of that is cultivating and developing this trust with your audience. And that's only going to happen if you're authentic, if you're true to yourself, and if you're truly passionate about what you're doing, if you're not coming on it for the money. So it's this interesting kind of dynamic of like, yes, eventually you want to generate an income, but you've got to, in a way, it's kind of like you got to put in your time. It's not the answer everybody wants to hear, but you know, it's the case for a lot of people. Not everybody. I mean, I have people in my programs that, you know, they'll take off and it just, you know, they've got 100,000 in a year, and that's incredible. But there's still that element of developing that relationship with your subscribers, because that's the most important relationship you're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so when did that shift for you? So what happened? Was there a tipping point where you're kind of going along, you know, doing your thing, gaining, you know, 20,000 a year, 30,000 a year, sounds like that. And then you did say that at some point your channel took off. What was that? Was that a video? What happened there?
I feel like it was like one of those perfect storm convergences of a couple of different things that happened all at once. So I had been a recurring feature in Women's Day magazine for a couple of years, I think since 2015, but they reorganized the magazine. They decided to like end my feature because they were, anyway, blah, blah, blah. A lot of stuff happened. So, but then at the end, they did like a big one-page feature. So before that, I was just like a little blurb in the corner of the beauty section. And I did feel like I did get a bump every time that came out, but in 2015, I got a full page spread just on me featuring my YouTube channel in Women's Day magazine. And I also did a video that was like my first, I wouldn't even consider it a viral video, but that really got some traction that people really kept coming back to, and it kept growing and growing and growing. And now I think it is in like that top 5 most watched, but it is the under eye concealer testing video. And you know, basically I took like 9 or 10 under eye concealers and I tested them on my, you know, 50, I guess by then 54-year-old under eye wrinkles, and showed super close-ups of different facial expressions. Like when you're smiling, here's what this concealer looks like, and then compared them, and then, you know, said, this is the winner. Here's the top 3 that worked best on mature skin. And that one, I think it just gained me like an extra level of respect and trust with the audience, that I feel like because my content is so diverse that a lot of people don't click subscribe because they're not sure about what they're going to get every time. My viewership is higher among non-subscribers than subscribers, which is interesting. But I think that was kind of the first video that made people really start clicking subscribe, because they were like, well, wait a minute. If she's willing to get her face into the camera, and first I showed my wrinkles with no makeup on them so you could compare and see if the concealer actually did make the wrinkles look worse or not. She's willing to stick her face in the camera and show her wrinkles at 54 years old, and then how this one looks and which looks worse and which looks better, then I'm going to hit the subscribe button. And I feel like between that and the magazine thing coinciding, there was like a 3-month period where it was just like a couple of really big spikes in viewership. So that's good. And then I also
what would be the spike? Like what? How many subscribers did you gain? Do you remember?
Yeah, so there was like 877 subs in one day on February 13th, and 910, so almost 1,000 subs in a day on April 28th. And I think the video came out around there. It's funny because where I have the big spikes, I would look in my analytics and I couldn't pinpoint it to exactly like one video.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's always like a conversion of a couple things. It would always happen like in a 2 or 3 month time frame. But I also think it's just a basic numbers game. Like if you're a channel that has under 100,000 subscribers, I think people are just less likely to click on your video when they put in a topic, and 20 videos come up. They're going to look at how many subscribers there are, and they're going to watch the video of the person who has 250,000 subscribers over the person who has 80,000 or 14,000. And I think it's just human nature that you want to, it's like the herd, mentality. So I think around that time, I think I probably was around 250,000 subscribers as well. And I think that once you get, it's almost like a little milestone that, other people start taking your channel seriously. And then it seems like it was such a slow slog from, 0 to like 250. Took like 4.5 years, something like that. But then from 250, now I'm almost at 600,000. So I'm like, how did that, right?
Yeah,
it's like it just falls once it gets to be a certain point. So I think it's something with when people see a bigger number, they're like, oh, okay, well now I'll subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like definitely momentum. Like that's the thing with YouTube. Like it's like, whenever you have a video, and I think that, I would argue to say that this can happen at different times. Like it's just random. Like for some people I know that, they were kind of doing their thing and then they had a video take off and then they're like, they went from literally 0 to 50,000 in like a couple months. And then from there, it's like how you build off of that momentum. And momentum is so, so, so powerful. And like with YouTube, especially when you get that YouTube momentum, when it's like the YouTube gods come down and kiss your channel and decide to boom, like promote it out, it's like you've got to take advantage of that momentum. You can't like stop uploading or switch to a completely different topic, because then you're giving that up. So I think momentum is a big thing, and it sounds like that's really happened for you the last couple of years.
Yeah, it really has. And then I feel like if I really like looked at the analytics and looked at the popular videos, I could probably grow a lot faster. Just concentrating on those things that really excite people and really take off. But I don't know how to make that many videos on the same topic that are also going to be interesting and are going to be the one that takes off. Like how many videos can you make about under eye concealer? So there was like testing video was a huge one. I do have to redo that one this year because
it's
video? Like 3 years old.
Oh, the testing one.
The testing one, the under eye concealer testing one. So, I've been testing under eye concealers along the way since then, but I'll do like one in a video and I'll review it. But I haven't done one like that where I do like 10 at once. Because, those videos take a lot of work. They take 2 months to complete the video, to do all the testing and then to put it together and to look at, and analyze it. So those are just a ton of work, but they definitely pay off. Or, the other one that's become really big is how to stop your under eye concealer from creasing. Another under eye concealer video that, doesn't take 10 weeks of testing and doesn't take all this other stuff. You just put on makeup and show all your best tips and tricks. But for some reason, that is a topic that really interests people, and it's hard to know what the topic is going to be, because after I did that like concealer testing one, then I was like, oh, okay, people want to see in-depth makeup testing for, all the different makeup. So then I did like a lipstick one. And I was like, yeah, old people, we have lip wrinkles. You got to see what goes up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I did lipstick testing. No traction on that one at all. It was, it had average viewership, but that was it. So, then I did some other kind of testing, maybe eyeliner or something.
Mm-hmm.
No traction. Like under eye concealer, the thing. And, that's what resonates with people. And I don't know how, like now I know it because my 2 big videos are like under eye concealer and eye related, but I feel like there's not that much more that you can do about under eye concealer.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So essentially you're saying like, you can go look at the analytics and figure out this is what people are interested in. But at some point, it's like you're kind of regurgitating the same thing again and again and again. And you're like, okay, I know this is a popular topic, but it's like, I'm over talking about it. Like, I got to do something different.
Right. There's nothing new. There aren't any new concealers. What am I supposed to test?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years, a ton of new concealers. So now I can make another one of those. Mm-hmm. So that's, I feel like the audience will be happy with that.
Do you pay attention to SEO? Is that something that you do? Do you take a look at, numbers, search volume?
No.
No.
No. It's beyond me.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I think that's honest. And the thing is, though, a lot of people don't. And I think there's 2 different camps. It's kind of like you can really focus on the SEO, and some people do, and you can gain traction that way. But at some point, you've got to always remember that you've got an audience that you're catering to. And it sounds like you're in that other camp that you're truly dedicated to your audience and really serving them.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely what I do. I definitely serve the audience more than, I don't really look at analytics that much. I really don't know how to work SEO. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, you're at 600-something thousand subscribers, so you're definitely doing some things right? And I think that's a great testament to show that you don't have to be sitting there looking at the numbers, the analytics, the graphs, the charts. And for some people, that's in their nature. They enjoy that. But for other people, they're like, I just want to create. And that's what I always say. I always say, you know what? You got to do what your zone of genius is. And if that's relating to people creating or whatever you're talking about, then that's what you want to focus on. So, is there anything for you today? Granted, you've been on YouTube since 2012, but is there anything today at 600-something thousand subscribers, having done it for 7 years, that you struggle with?
Well, I struggle with makeup every day just because I'm older every day. Like I started and I was 50. I was in a crisis about my skin. I'm 57, and you're never not in a crisis about your skin because it always poses a problem with makeup. So I'll sit down to make a video where I'm going to put on makeup, and it seems like I should be done with this in an hour or less. Editing take 2 hours. Oh no, the makeup didn't work right. I put on something that looked awful. I had a hot flash. It ruined the effect. It was supposed to be, whatever. And I'll feel like, okay, now I need to start over. I need to re-record this. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. This is supposed to be a teaching moment, and it's turned into, it looks awful. Like those are still a struggle for me. And I see other people who are in the beauty community who just, younger people mainly, they sit down, they put on the makeup, it looks great. They can talk through it because they can see. Like they can look in their tiny camera monitor and see if the makeup looks good, and so they can critique it on the fly as they go. 57, I'm wearing contacts and I still can't see well enough to see what's going on the monitor. So I have to stop, turn off the camera, look in my 15x mirror to see what it actually looks like before I can critique it. Put on the camera, come back, get my thoughts together, keep my thought train on the track. It's just kind of the function of being older that it poses a lot of problems. You don't remember names. You can't see the print on the, I'm holding up an eyeliner and I can't read what the name of it is. So stop the camera, get out my magnifying glass, then remember it long enough to put the camera back on, say the name and the shade.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's kind of a struggle being this age and doing it. And I see other people and it just seems to roll off so easily. And I'm like, oh, I wish YouTube was a thing back when I was 35.
Yeah.
I would have done it, but it would have just been easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, and thank you for sharing that, because it's just being honest with what's going on. And I think everybody at different ages has different struggles that they're dealing with, you know, and maybe when they're 20s, they don't have the funds to really be able to get the equipment and buy the stuff or do it as many hours as they want to, or someone in their 30s in the middle of having little kids, you know, like me, you know, you're like, I only have like 45 minutes to get this done. You're like, okay, we got to do it. And, you know, at your age, it's like, I can't see this. So I think, and I think that's wonderful. And that's why I like doing this podcast, because every woman of every age, like there's always like hurdles no matter what. And I think, thank you for sharing that. Have you ever shared that with your subscribers? Have you ever been like vulnerable, like during a video and be like, oh gosh, you guys, like I'm having a hot flash or whatever. Have you ever done that?
Yes. I mean, sometimes not, mainly not intentionally, but it's one video that was supposed to be like, if you have enlarged pores, which I do, and texture on your skin, it was how to make your skin look nice and smooth. And so I had like this primer and this foundation. They worked together so well to make that effect. And I'm putting it on, and halfway through the video, I have a hot flash. And it just melts the makeup, and the whole smooth effect is gone.
Oh, wow.
And it was so frustrating because I had tried to record it twice before already. And kind of the same thing had happened. So, you know, I think I should have been prepared for that. But at this point, I was just like almost in tears because I didn't have the time to record it again. I needed to do it. So I decided I was just going to do it. But when I put it up on Instagram, I always put, you know, the thumbnail on Instagram to bring viewers over to YouTube. And I said on Instagram, you know, you guys, I wasn't sure if I should put this video up at all because it's about how to make your skin smooth. And I kind of failed because I had a hot flash in it, and it ruined the effect. And the response to that was so amazing. Like, I was like, oh, this is why I do this, because you guys are just, they're like my cheerleaders, and they're with me in that experience. Like, everybody my age has had a hot flash that ruined their makeup, and so we could all relate. And they were like, no, that's why we love you. You're so real. We love seeing that. I mean, sometimes I forget that they want, you know, everyone wants to see, like, no one wants to see you struggle, but they want to see you the same as them. You know, they don't want to see you come on and put on perfect makeup and look perfect. And they're like, why am I having a struggle? You know, so I feel like that's kind of the more relatable bits. I don't want it to happen in every video because it does make me cry and stress me out. You know, so I want some videos to just be smooth and seamless and easy to make. But yeah, those are like the moments that are gold on YouTube that you would never plan it. But then the outpouring of support is just so great. And that's what really, you know, keeps you going and makes you understand the relationship you really do have with your subscribers.
It's so
that's
important.
You know, most meaningful moments like on YouTube for me.
And did that video itself do well?
Average.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a Tuesday makeup video. I think it did better than the average like full face get ready with me, but it did okay. Yeah. It wasn't, you know, a hit or anything, but
it wasn't a total flop either.
No.
Not like you thought it would. But yeah, I mean that's great though that you're able to show those vulnerable moments. And like you said, they're like, that's why we love you, because you share that and you're open and you're real with us. And you're right. Like when it comes to YouTube, it's all about relatability. That's why people watch it, as opposed to, you know, watching scripted television or, you know, like other things that are like, okay, we're talking about, you know, makeup and stuff, but everything's perfect and glossy. And so I think people are over that. And that's why they come to people like yourself for that real experience.
Right. Yeah.
So you mentioned at some point that you mentioned it earlier, but you also mentioned offline too. You've had some really cool opportunities that are as a result of your YouTube channel, you know, being in different publications. How did that come about, and can you share that? How that happened?
Yeah, it's just sheer luck. I mean, I don't work with a manager. I don't work with a PR agency. I pretty much just fly by the seat of my pants here, and things come my way, which I've been so fortunate in that way. So when Women's Day approached me, I just got an email out of the blue from Women's Day magazine, and it wasn't even the beauty editor. I think it was the fashion editor who was my age and started finding my videos. And she approached the beauty editor one day and she goes, you know, there's this YouTuber I think you should look at because she's in our demographic and I think you could do something with her. And so she sent me an email and I was like, oh my God, actually, I so don't want to be my age. Not that I don't want to be my age,
Yeah.
but I was like, Women's Day? That's an old lady magazine. Like, and then I was like, wait a minute. Okay, check yourself, girl. Okay, you are an old lady, so that's your demo. You shouldn't be offended that they want to, put you in there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, and their circulation was ginormous, but of course, the editor was 30. And so like, okay, so we're going to just send you boxes of stuff every month, and you're just going to pick the best one, and we're going to do a little blurb on it, and that was that. So I had this little recurring feature in Women's Day for a couple of years, and then this AARP magazine thing that kind of coincided with my second little subscriber bump. I almost missed that opportunity because the writer on the article had emailed me a couple of times, and it was just one of these times when I was so busy I didn't even have time to look at my email for like a week. And then on the last day that they were going to press, he was like, I'm just trying you one last time. We'd really like to include you in this. Like I think they were gonna do a full page spread. I think I was gonna be one of the bigger features. Instead, they just did like a little blurb on me because they finally send them a picture and to approve the copy. So I was like, oh, darn, really need to check my email like every single day and see what's going on in there. But they're so few and far between. That's something that I am actually interested in. My email is full of junk and offers that I'm not interested in. And then occasionally there's something like that. And I almost missed that one, but it was just a great little feature. It featured all social media people who are over 50. And all kinds of people doing all kinds of things, not just fashion and beauty, but, bodybuilding and cooking. And I mean, it was just a great feature to be in. And I feel like I got a big bump from that. But no, those things I don't go looking for them. They just come and find me on their own. And, so I've been really lucky.
Yeah, that's the beauty of YouTube is that you never know who's watching. You never know who's going to find you. It could be the editor of a magazine. It could be the producer of a show. It could be, a podcaster. I mean, you just never know who's watching. And that's what I think that's what's so amazing about YouTube is that there are so many opportunities that can come from that. And I love asking that question to everybody that comes on. Okay, so last question. It doesn't have to do with your YouTube channel, but just I'm sure people listening who don't know who you are, or some of our younger listeners, or even women your age, what would you say are your like number one best makeup tip for like, great looking makeup, and a number one best skincare tip?
All right. Well, I hate to beat a dead horse, but number one skincare tip is always sunscreen. So you hate it when you're like, give me a good skincare tip, and they say wear sunscreen. Yeah. Especially when the damage is already done, when you have this, but it's never too late to start wearing sunscreen, because the reason I say that is not that it's never too late, but it's still the best thing, because all of the products that you spend a lot of money on, all of your creams and your lotions and your potions, they do nothing for you if you're continuing to invite sun damage onto your skin. So you can use products like prescription retin-A, which would be number 2 in skincare. Use that, but don't use it if you're not going to use sunscreen. So
that could damage your skin,
damage your skin even more. So, don't even invest your money in all this skincare if you're also going to not make the commitment to sunscreen. So sunscreen, number 1, and definitely like a prescription retinoid is the best. If you're older and you're looking to really make a difference in your skin, that's the best. And I feel like my best makeup tip is to use setting powder. I know so many older people are so afraid of setting powder, and I get comments like every single day, it makes my skin look dry, it makes my makeup look cakey. And I always say, are you using the right setting powder? Because, I only use 2 that I like, and I've tried a lot of them, and I don't love most of them, but the ones that are really good make your makeup look better. And I don't know people who are my age that don't have like enlarged pores and texture, and it's, the glowy, dewy makeup is all the thing now. Your skin look beautiful and dewy, but it does accentuate texture. And so you got to strategically use just a little bit of setting powder where your skin is more textured, and that way it just like smooths it over, but you can still use highlighter and glowy foundation on the rest of your face. And then it makes you look much like smoother and finishes off the look.
Ooh, I love that. What are those 2 powders that you said are like the best that you love?
Well, It Cosmetics, their Bye Bye Pores HD powder. It's a loose powder. And then the other one from the drugstore is Revlon Candid loose powder. It's called I think it's called anti-pollution or something like that. Those are both really, really good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been so lovely getting to know you and chatting with you about your experience. And for people that are listening or watching that aren't familiar with you and your channel, where is the best place for them to find you and connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me at Hot and Flashy on YouTube. And so if just type in Hot and Flashy and my channel will come up. I have a blog that I put all my videos on as well. That is www.hotandflashy.com. And on Instagram, I'm Angie Hot and Flashy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angie.
Thanks, Erika.
Bye.